Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Welcome to Pulse of Africa News. I'm Tinsai Gabriel, bringing you the continent's leading stories and in-depth reporting. Stay with us. We will begin with Togo. Togo's government on Thursday established the National Geographic Institute of Togo through a decree adopted at a Council of Ministers meeting, transforming the existing Directorate General of Geographic Information into a public institution with legal personality and administrative and financial autonomy. The reform seeks to address structural bottlenecks that have constrained the production of reliable data. The production of reliable data remains hampered by the technical and institutional limitations of the current framework, the Council said in a statement. Under the new framework, the Institute will coordinate the collection and dissemination of geographic data. It is also expected to help the country keep pace with advances in cartographic technologies and evolving sector standards while improving operational efficiency and aligning more closely with regional and international frameworks. Authorities view geographic data as strategic for spatial planning, land administration, and infrastructure development. Economically, the government expects broader spillover effects. The INGT is designed to provide a dedicated body capable of producing reliable data and supporting socio-economic development through the modernization of geolocation, digitization, and land management tools. Turkey's Hayat DHC will build a new paper products factory in Algeria with an investment of $103 million as the country seeks to expand local manufacturing and curb imports. The Algerian Investment Proportion Agency announced the project on Tuesday, February 17, after Director General Omar Rakic met a delegation from the Turkish group. The company will locate the plant in Rilazane, a city in the northwestern Algeria, about 290 kilometers west of Algiers. The factory will produce 70,000 tons of jumbo paper rolls annually. The facility will also manufacture 24,275 tons of tissue paper and 20,000 tons of paper-based hygiene products each year. The company expects the plants to generate 960 direct jobs over time. The project will also help reduce Algeria's import bill for paper and hygiene products by substituting locally manufactured goods for imported supplies. Omar Rakic officially launched the project's implementation phase by handing the investment registration certificate to Hayat DHC executives through the meeting. Rakic stressed the importance of gradually developing local input production to increase the national integration rate of finished goods. He reaffirmed the agency's readiness to support the Turkish group in establishing additional industrial units or localizing subcontracting projects to build an integrated national network.
If you don't tell your story, it will be told by others. They'll talk of hunger, they'll talk of war, they'll talk of conflict, but they'll not say the things that are happening in Africa that are positive.
This is POA, a very new media organization in Ethiopia.
We have to be voice for ourselves. There is no one else that can tell our story better than us.
If it's defending African matters, then go for it. Go for Pulse Media.
This is the Pulse of Africa. Tune in, follow the journey, and learn about the news and what's shaping our African continent.
I am really impressed by the work that they are doing by telling the African story from Africa for Africans. I think it's definitely needed.
Please subscribe to the Pulse of Africa on all platforms.
The president of the Pan-African Tourism Board, Miriam Lysian, has recognized Ethiopia as a leading model for tourism development in Africa, citing the country's rapid growth, rich cultural heritage, and expanding infrastructure as key drivers of its continental influence. In an exclusive interview with Pulse of Africa, Lysian highlighted the nation's unique attractions, from its globally renowned coffee heritage to its landscapes, museums, parks, and lakes as strong draws for visitors. Lysiane described Ethiopia as a rising tourism powerhouse driven by a strong cultural identity, stable aviation connectivity, and improving infrastructure.
Ethiopia, first of all, you're very lucky because you have a very stable airline. And a lot of people come to Ethiopia because we all believe it's the country of origin. So a lot of people, they want to come and see. Looking at the data, it's growing the sector is growing rapidly. A lot of African countries 3 years ago and now the tourism sector is really booming. And same as Ethiopia, people, they want to see where that nice coffee is coming from. So a lot of tourists, they're coming to see it. It attracts a lot of tourism. And honestly, to me, I say Ethiopia is a beautiful country. And a lot of African countries, they have to learn a lot of things from Ethiopia. And the people are very friendly, and that's what hospitality industry needs.
Ethiopia is widely recognized for its rich blend of natural beauty and historical depth, making its national parks, lakes, museums, and heritage sites central pillars of the country's tourism appeal. From the iconic rock-hewn churches of Lalibela to the ancient obelisks of Assum, the country's heritage sites showcase thousands of years of civilization and religious history, offering visitors profound insight into Ethiopia's cultural legacy. Combined with its national parks and scenic lakes, the museums, these attractions create a diverse and compelling tourism portfolio that positions Ethiopia as one of Africa's premier travel destinations. Lysiane further underscored that Ethiopia's stronger embrace of its heritage, from traditional attire and music to its globally recognized coffee ceremony, remains a defining feature of its tourism success.
When you come to Ethiopia, I was here a month ago, so you get that appetite to come again because there is a lot of things to see, and it's a country which is peaceful, it's clean, people are very friendly, you are attracted to come again and again. I can say to other African countries, we really have to work hard on our cultural tourism because Ethiopia, they've taken it over. The culture in Ethiopia, talking of the attire, the cultural attire of Ethiopia, you see even people on the street, they're wearing, people in the ceremonies, they're wearing beautiful culture.
Ethiopia's tourism appeal is deeply rooted in its rich cultural heritage, which countries to shape the visitor experience. The country has maintained a strong and visible connection to its traditions, spanning centuries of history, art, and daily practices, she added. She noted that the visible and authentic cultural expression creates a memorable visitor experience and strengthens Ethiopia's international image. Commending Ethiopia's strides, Lysiane argued that Africa's tourism industry remains constrained by movement restrictions and underdeveloped transport networks. She called for immediate and decisive action from African leaders. Lysiane emphasized that sustainable tourism is not only a cultural asset, but also a powerful economic engine capable of strengthening GDP, creating jobs, and enhancing financial stability across the continent. Namibia's government will continue to provide the policy, veterinary, and regulatory support needed to secure the recovery of the red meat industry, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Water, and Land Reform, Inge Zamawani, said on Friday. The minister signaled a cautious optimism for the nation's red meat industry, citing measurable progress in the financial stability and governance of the ministry's strategic export partner, the Meat Corporation of Namibia. Meatco recently reported a profit of 106 million Namibian dollars, about $6.5 million US, for the year ended January 31st, 2025, following 5 consecutive years of losses from 2020 to 2024. Speaking at Meatco's annual general meeting on Friday, Zamawani described the entity as a symbol of Namibia's credibility as a global exporter of premium beef. Meatco's increasing financial stability is not merely a corporate turnaround. It is a matter of national interest, she said. Despite the positive trends, the government warned that the process is not yet over. True sustainability will require continued growth, stronger producer alignment, deeper market diversification, sharper cost discipline, and greater cohesion across the value chain, Zamawani added. Meanwhile, she emphasized the ongoing threat of foot and mouth disease, describing it as a national responsibility rather than merely a government fight. According to the minister, the ministry has intensified broader surveillance and maintained vaccination schedules in high-risk zones. Recognizing the immense pressure faced by both commercial and communal farmers, including climate shocks, rising costs, and market volatility, the minister reaffirmed the government's commitment to expanding market access and enhancing animal health systems. Shifting to business news, the Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund completed on February 18, 2026, the fourth review of Burkina Faso's 48th month extended credit facility arrangement, originally approved in September 2023. The completion triggers an immediate disbursement of approximately $33.2 million, bringing total financial support to $165.8 million. Simultaneously, the board approved a new arrangement under the Resilience and Sustainability Facility worth $124.3 million, running through September 2027. The program targets fiscal resilience to external shocks, integration of climate considerations into public financial management, improved performance of state-owned enterprises in climate-sensitive sectors, and mobilization of green financing. Burkina Faso's real GDP growth accelerated to 5% in 2025, up from 4.8% in 2024. The IMF projects growth to remain within a 4.5 to 5% range over the medium term, contingent on improvements in the security situation. Kenya has successfully returned to international capital markets, securing $2.25 billion through the dual-tranche dollar-denominated bond issuance. Nairobi raised $900 million in 7-year notes, offering an 8.1% yield alongside $1.35 billion in 12-year bonds at 8.995%. Rather than funding new deficits, this operation is a calculated exercise in proactive liability management. The government is utilizing these fresh funds to execute an early buyback of existing Eurobonds maturing in 2028 and 2032. By aggressively smoothing out its repayment schedule, Kenya is mitigating future refinancing risks, easing medium-term liquidity pressures, and sending a strong signal of fiscal maturity to global rating agencies and investors alike. This strategic maneuver by Kenya is part of a much larger continent-wide renaissance characterizing the early months of 2026. After a prolonged period of market exclusion driven by aggressive global monetary tightening, African nations are capitalizing on a rapidly opening window of opportunity. A global easing of interest rates, combined with a noticeable comprehension of risk premiums for emerging and frontier markets, has drawn yield-hungry international capital back to the continent. Governments are rushing to lock in these favorable conditions, resulting in a flurry of both conventional and innovative debt issuances aimed at restructuring legacy debt and financing critical development agendas. The chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shenu Diko, has confirmed that Nigeria's participation in the 2026 World Cup now resets with FIFA. The Nigeria Football Federation logged a formal protest with the World Football Governing Body, alleging that DR Congo fielded ineligible players during the African playoff final. Speaking to journalists after the meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa on Thursday, Diko said the issue remains under review. He stated, "From a competitive standpoint, the World Cup is closed for us, but the legal proceedings are ongoing. The relevant independent bodies within FIFA will make the final decision." Diko also expressed hope that the Super Eagles could be reinstated for the Intercontinental playoff scheduled for March. Finally, at 34, Neymar is still chasing one final dream, playing in the 2026 World Cup with Brazil. But the Santos forward has admitted that the 2026 season could mark the end of his career. After years disrupted by injuries, the Brazilian star now admits he is taking things day by day, aware that his body may no longer allow him to plan too far ahead. Since leaving Paris Saint-Germain, Neymar has struggled to find continuity. His costly move to Al Hilal ended prematurely due to a serious injury suffered with Brazil before an emotional return to Santos nearly 12 years after leaving for FC Barcelona. Despite flashes of brilliance, recurring physical problems have limited his impact, raising questions about how much longer he can compete at a highest level. Although Santos recently extended his contract until December 2026, Neymar openly acknowledged that retirement is a real possibility once it expires. Speaking in an interview, he explained that the decision would come from the heart, stressing the importance of the upcoming World Cup year for both himself and the national team. If that proves to be his final chapter, football could witness the end of one of the most talented and controversial careers of his generation. This concludes our current segment. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.